Coming up on the NBA Today, who's coming, who's going, and who's staying? We look at the impact of the offseason merry-go-round. How about a comeback?
Hopefully, I can get to that point where I can make that decision. Most decisions are going to be tough.
We know, guys. Take your time.
If you asked me today to make a decision, I would.
What?
Whatever.
It's showtime in the Summer League, and we look at what teams are getting the most out of the summer session. What are your summer plans, C-Webb?
Hiding from y'all.
You can't hide from the NBA Today. Next. Thanks for dropping in on the NBA Today. Dave Revson with you, to be joined momentarily by David Aldridge, Dr. Jack Ramsey. We start you off with the biggest prize in the free agent pool, staying put. Chris Webber got a rally in downtown Sacramento, and he didn't even have to win a championship to get it. More than 5,000 fans packed the downtown plaza over the weekend, shouting his name and celebrating his return to the city it appeared he had no interest in returning to. Although the truth is, many in NBA circles feel he chose the Kings' money, not the Kings themselves. Either way, the most highly coveted free agent in the league is indeed staying put, agreeing to a 7-year deal worth nearly $123 million, the second largest contract in league history, behind only Kevin Garnett's deal with the T-Wolves. Webber said he lost his apartment keys and all the excitement, can probably afford a full-fledged house with the new deal.
I really considered other places, and I looked at it. I looked at my options, and after all the plus and minuses, it was nothing that was better than where I was, which was here, and that's why I'm back. I told him in the room, I feel like a rookie again. I'm nervous, my hands are shaking. I just feel good. More than elated, it's just I'm relieved that I know I've done the right thing. You know, a few years ago, being younger, you may not have always done the right thing, and you know, staying here to me was a sign to myself that I matured.
Webber's development into one of the league's best power forwards can be traced to his trade from Washington to Sacramento in '98. Since joining the Kings, he's upped his scoring average by about 4 points per game and his rebound average by nearly 2 per game. Only 3 players have a higher rebounding average than him since the start of the '98-'99 season, and it is a good list. Kimbe, Shaq, and Tim Duncan. So, David, the Webber saga does end up with him back in Sacramento. Seems so unlikely a few months ago. Why do you think it came to this point?
Well, really, David, they couldn't make a trade work, again, because of the luxury tax looming out there. There was nobody that could really put a deal together that wouldn't decimate their own team in order to get Chris Webber. He would wind up going to a team far less talented than the one he left. So I think he decided, he looked at Sacramento and what they had done, being able to keep Chris and making the trade for Bibby, saw that they were a very good team. One other thing that I think is important, we talked to Jalen Rose about this. He told Chris Webber, you've got to put down roots and establish yourself as the guy somewhere. Can't keep going from team to team, leading this nomadic existence and, you know, trying to find the perfect spot. You have a good situation there. You've got good talent around you, and you should stay there and try to make a statement that you're going to be the guy. The team is your team. You're going to try to lead it to a championship, and I think that's what he's going to do in Sacramento. I mean, that's the challenge in front of Chris Webber now. And I think what he said is right. It is a sign of some maturity that he decided to stay where he was, and $122 million didn't hurt either.
No, I would think that would probably be plenty of money to import that soul food he complained the city was lacking, D.A. Yes, the Lakers are the 2-time defending NBA champs, and yes, they have the most dominant big man in recent memory, but the problem is he's their only big man, literally. With Greg Foster's trade to Milwaukee, free agent Horace Grant signing with Orlando, and Mark Manson's injury, the Lakers looking downright Lilliputian. Shaq and Robert Horry, the only remaining players taller than 6'8". To that end, L.A. signing Samaki Walker this week. Walker comes over from the Spurs. He is expected to fill Grant's spot at power forward, averaged about 5 points and 4 boards last season for San Antonio. L.A. also signing a scorer and 5-time All-Star Mitch Richmond. The shooting guard averaged a career low 16.2 points per game last season in Washington. He's a career 39% three-point shooter. L.A. has lost Tyronn Lue to the Wizards. The point guard who played particularly well defensively in this year's postseason has a career average of 4 points per game. Well, Dr. Jack Ramsey joins us now. And, Jack, when you look at what they gained and what they lost, do you think the world champs are better off or are they worse off?
Well, I think they're at least holding the fort. They got Lindsey Hunter to take Lue's responsibilities, and he'll do that well. Samaki Walker has to lift his game. In the last 2 seasons at San Antonio, didn't average better than 5 points and 4 rebounds in either season. His best season in his career was at Dallas in the 97-98 season when he averaged just a little under 9 points a game and 7.4 rebounds in 25 minutes. Now, if he can do that, he'll help them, and this is a great opportunity for him. I like Mitch Richmond as an addition to that roster. Here's a solid guy, plays the two-guard position as well as just about anybody in the game, and even though last year he played only 37 games at Washington and shot a career-low .407 from the field, he's still the consummate pro. He can get his own shot. He can play within a team offense, which he'll do very well in the triangle offense of Phil Jackson, and he can also get his own shot. So whether he starts or comes off the bench, Mitch Richmond's going to be an asset to the team. So I think at least, Dave, they've held the fort, and depending on how Walker performs, they may even take a step forward.
All right, we'll move now from some guys who are on the move there to some guys staying put. And Antonio Davis said last month he was considering leaving Toronto in part because he didn't think his kids were learning American history in the Canadian schools they attend. After re-signing with the Raptors last week, he said that he and Toronto GM Glenn Grunwald are looking into hiring a teacher for their school. With $64 million to throw around, they will probably have some takers in that category. That's the amount of Davis's new 5-year deal with the club. He had considered offers from Orlando and Chicago, but said the Bulls GM Jerry Krause lowered his original offer by nearly $10 million. Forward Jerome Williams also staying with the Raptors. He gets a 7-year deal worth nearly $41 million. Williams averaged more than 7 points and 8 boards last season. But wait, there is more. Toronto also hanging on to guard Alvin Williams. He averaged nearly 10 points, go along with 5 assists last year. He gets $42 million over 7 years. And David, the Raptors also in the hunt for Hakeem Olajuwon. Of course, that does not make them unique. A bunch of teams in the hunt for him. Cavs and Pacers reportedly throwing their hats in the ring this week. What's the latest you're hearing there?
Well, here's the thing with Olajuwon is I really don't think he's got a 4-year offer from Toronto. I think if he had that and he wanted to go there, he would have taken it already. There's no way Houston's going to give him 4 years. Keep in mind, there's rules regarding signing players who are over 35 years of age, make it more difficult to hold on to them, and that's one of the considerations for Olajuwon right now. The Rockets have a 2-year deal on the table, much like San Antonio with David Robinson. They can't do anything with Maurice Taylor, Moochie Norris, their other free agents, until they resolve Hakeem's situation. They can't really create enough cap room to give him more than what Toronto's offering. So the problem is Hakeem's going to have to take a 2-year deal, probably with Houston, unless he wants to force a sign and trade. I don't think that either Houston or Toronto really can do that. As far as Indiana goes, I think that they're probably out of the Hakeem thing. I think that was more wishful thinking. I think their target is Mark Jackson. That's the guy they'd like to sign, a free agent from Golden State. The problem is they can't offer him more than the mid-level exception, which is what Golden State's offering him, and he's expressed in the past, at least, a willingness or a desire to stay in Golden State.
All right, we're speaking of Hakeem. Another guy from the draft class of '84 continues to be the center of speculation. No, we're not talking about Sam Bowie. Michael Jordan admitted last week that speculation over his return has been a distraction for the Washington Wizards. Well, perhaps for the players, but for the fans, it's actually given them a reason to care about one of the league's most uninspiring franchises. The team says that fewer than 300 season tickets remain in the lower bowl of the MCI Center for next season. Question is, though, will those fans be seeing MJ in action?
Still evaluating. I'm looking for the signs. I'm looking for all the things that I feel I could do when I was playing. And if you asked me today to make a decision, I would not play because I still have so many question marks about me myself physically. Yeah, it's a decision I got to make before October. But it's been fun sitting upstairs and going through all the different scenarios and dealing, making phone calls with other GMs and owners, and that's something that I never saw. It's a different type of competition, but it's fun.
Well, Jordan would have to give that up. He'd have to sell his ownership interest in the team, believed to be between 5 and 10% if and when he does return, although NBA Commissioner David Stern has said that should not be a problem. So much more to come on the NBA today. What's the future of Tim Duncan's team in San Antonio? David Aldridge weighing in. And the intertwined careers of Weber and Richmond. The quest for a ring in the West. Stick around.
See, in street ball, you can't just give yourself a nickname. You gotta earn it. That's airline food, because he's nasty in the air. This my man, the Exorcist, always turning heads. They call me Cool Dat. when I get on the court, it's like, who that? Actually, they call him Dirty Rob because he's always getting beat. Me? Call me the calculator, because I'm the cat you can count on. I got just the thing for you. Nike's Air Up Tempo Press. Light for dunking on cats' heads or going strong to the hole. And you can only get them at Foot Locker. These will definitely help you earn a nickname.
The Pizza Hut Tax Cut Special. First, you get a large Pizza Hut pizza. Second, you get it topped any way you want. It's like getting all those extra toppings for free. Third, it's the Twisted Crust Pizza with built-in breadsticks, so it's like getting those for free. All for just $9.99. Like a refund, but taste a whole lot better.
When Tony brought me home to meet his mother, she was a little surprised. She wanted a good Italian wife for him. She got someone who teaches him Yiddish. We have our differences, it's true, but we are bonding. She gave me her grandmother's good tablecloth. It survived 2 generations. Now it's up to me.
Tide Deep Clean formula combines an amazing detergent with the power of a pre-treater. It's all you need for the best stain fighting ever.
Married life is great. All 3 of us are having a blast.
Mitch Richmond has played 912 career games, just 21 of them in the playoffs. Upon arriving in L.A. this week, he summed up his career by saying, "I've been taking a lot of vacations in June." Richmond signing for $1 million with the Lakers is a last-ditch effort to earn the ring that has eluded him. In that sense, he has nothing in common with a much younger Chris Webber, who signed in Sacramento for $12,300% more. Yet despite the obvious differences, their careers are strangely intertwined. On May 14, 1998, the Washington Wizards traded Chris Webber to the Sacramento Kings for Mitch Richmond. On the surface, it would appear the only similarities between the two were that both were all-stars in desperate need of a change of scenery. Actually, the parallels between them run much deeper.
Richmond for three-point land.
After winning All-American honors as a senior at Kansas State, Richmond was selected 5th in the 1988 draft by the Golden State Warriors. He went on to be named the NBA Rookie of the Year for the 88-89 season. Webber was also a college All-American. After 2 consecutive appearances in the NCAA championship game as part of Michigan's Fab Five, he gave up his last 2 years of eligibility to enter the NBA draft. He was picked first overall by the Magic in '93, but never made it to Orlando.
Orlando has traded the draft rights to Chris Webber to Golden State.
Webber also went on to be named Rookie of the Year, the youngest player ever to do so. But that didn't help his strained relationship with Warriors coach Don Nelson. By the beginning of the 94-95 season, someone had to go, and Webber was shipped to the Bullets for Tom Gugliotta and 3 first-round picks.
Richmond.
Oh, what a shot. What a shot in traffic.
Richmond, on the other hand, was an instant hit in the Bay Area, teaming with Chris Mullin and Tim Hardaway to form Run TMC. But after 3 full years as a Warrior, averaging almost 23 points a game, the Warriors made a surprise move and dealt Richmond to Sacramento. 2 seasons later, he was an All-Star and went on to make 6 straight appearances. Back east, Webber blossomed into an All-Star with the Bullets/Wizards. He appeared to have found a home in the nation's capital, reuniting with Fab Five teammate Juwan Howard. But after a variety of off-the-court problems, he was dealt to Sacramento for Richmond. So after a career mired by controversy, C-Webb went to the hapless Kings. Both the fortunes of Webber and the team seemed to improve almost immediately. He led Sacramento to 3 consecutive playoff appearances. Prior to that, the Kings had only been to the postseason twice in 14 years, the last time being the 95-96 season when they were led by, you guessed it, Mitch Richmond. Webber, who appeared to be unsatisfied with Sacramento's small-town atmosphere, seemed to be a lock to move on to a club in a larger metropolitan area. To everyone's surprise, Webber re-signed with the Kings. 2 days later, Richmond, whose contract was bought out by the Wizards, agreed to terms with the Lakers, the same team that eliminated Webber's Kings on the way to consecutive NBA titles. Now playing for division rivals, it seems their career paths will continue to cross. It remains to be seen where their intertwining roads will end. Still to come on the show, Derek Anderson leaves San Antonio. What does it all mean for the Spurs' future? Stick around.
Wednesday on the Superstation.
This is the point of no return.
Enter the bizarre world of Ripley's Believe It or Not.
No, he was blown away.
This is something they might only see once in their life.
This has got to be the final test.
Hosted by Dean Cain. Ripley's Believe It or Not, Wednesday at 8 Eastern, 7 Central.
Charter Communications, a Wired World company.
It's a long road to the championship, especially when the guy on top is Roy Jones Jr. But undefeated Julio Gonzalez has a dream, and he'll do whatever it takes to be tough enough to face the man they call pound for pound, the best fighter in the world. Roy versus Julio, plus a not-to-be-missed undercard, July 28th.
Get your ringside seat on In Demand.
When you fight for your dreams, anything can happen. This Tuesday on ESPN Classic. Witness boxing history. Two legends. One legendary fight. The 1987 middleweight championship. Sugar Ray Leonard versus Marvelous Marvin Hagler. 9 p.m. Eastern, 10 Pacific, Tuesday, only on ESPN Classic. To get ESPN Classic, call 1-800-CLASSIC today.
More free agent signees, as was the trend. These guys staying put. They include a couple key cogs in the Sixers' run to the finals. Sixth Man of the Year, Aaron McKee, and Defensive Player of the Year, Dikembe Mutombo. Christian Laettner staying with the Wizards, who he came to in the Juwan Howard deal. Allen Houston said he's the best two-guard in the league. Make an argument he's not even the best on his team, but he is the highest paid, $100 million to stay in New York. Michael Finley, as expected, gets the max to stay in Dallas. A bit of an exodus in the Spurs backcourt. Avery Johnson headed for Denver. The point guard inking a 3-year, $14.4 million deal to back up Nick Van Exel. Johnson had been in San Antonio for the past 7 seasons. And Derek Anderson leaves the Spurs for Portland. He's agreed to a 6-year deal for the mid-level exception, but could earn more if the Blazers and Spurs can work out a sign-and-trade deal. Well, David, it has not been a great offseason so far in San Antonio, as we saw there. They did manage to re-sign David Robinson, but hardly a smooth negotiation there. What is their next move, and what do you think the feeling is around this team right now?
Well, it's difficult, Dave. You know, they gave David Robinson really an ultimatum, said he had to take a pay cut so they could re-sign Derek Anderson. Well, he took the pay cut. They didn't re-sign Derek Anderson. So I think it's going to be an unusual offseason if they don't get something done. I don't think they want to do a sign and trade with Portland. They may not have any choice but to take Steve Smith from Portland. Otherwise, they get nothing for Derek Anderson. And I think they have to fight a perception around the league right now that in 2 years, Tim Duncan's going to take off. I mean, right now, I don't think anybody really believes that Duncan's going to be around more than the 2 years remaining on his contract. It was certainly a factor in Derek Anderson's decision not to come back. He wanted an out clause for that reason, so that in case Duncan didn't leave, he could also be a free agent. They wouldn't give him that. They have to get somebody in there and get somebody signed. And they're talking to Bruce Bowen, and that's one of the guys they're looking at. And he'll help them. There's no question about him. But I think they need to hit a home run pretty quickly to kind of quell that growing perception that this is a 2-year window for them with Duncan and Robinson, and then nobody's going to be there in 2 years.
Now, David, you mentioned earlier in the show the luxury tax. What kind of a role does that play in all this? We hear a ton about it.
Well, we've been talking about it all along, David, and what you're seeing is that teams are not as interested in doing trades as they were maybe even last season, because everybody is afraid of that luxury tax. Keep one thing in mind, you're not going to know what that number is until the end of next season. So you have to kind of really grope in the dark to try and figure out what the number is. So teams are being very leery, leaving themselves a couple $1 million of cushion, not using their mid-level exception. One example, Gary Payton. There was a lot of talk last week about Gary Payton being shopped. He was being shopped hard by Seattle. One potential deal had him going to Minnesota rather, in a 3-team trade involving the Bulls also, where Terrell Brandon and Ron Mercer would have wound up in Seattle and Wally Szczerbiak would have wound up in Chicago. But there was a concern about that luxury tax, about going over the tax, and so that was one reason why that deal didn't get done. And a lot of teams being reluctant to make those kind of trades right now, knowing that they'll have to pay that dollar-for-dollar tax at the end of next season.
All right, D.A. Last year's big free agent winner, meanwhile, making a couple moves last week. For the first time since Shaquille O'Neal left for the Glitz and championship rings of L.A., Orlando has a legitimate center. The only problem is, by the time his contract with the Magic expires, Patrick Ewing will be 40. meaning his legitimacy and his viability may not be one and the same. Either way, Ewing did, as expected, ink a deal with Orlando last week. Gets $4.6 million over 2 years, and he hopes a championship ring after an NBA career that has included 11 All-Star appearances. Joining Ewing in Orlando, Horace Grant. Grant returning to the team he played for between 1994 and 99, gets a 3-year deal worth more than $7 million. Now, Jack, we talked about them as last year's big free agent winner, but obviously Grant Hill's injury killed the Magic's chances at winning this past season. If he is healthy and you add in Ewing and Grant, do you think this is a team that could get past Philly in the East?
Well, it could. I think you have to wait before you give them that status. I know some analysts are proclaiming them the best team in the East. I think it has to be proven. Remember, Ewing and Grant are both at the downside of good, solid careers. Ewing last year was the first time in his career that he averaged less than double-digit points. 9.6 points and 7+ rebounds a game, but a durable guy. Horace Grant last year helped the Lakers, no question about that, averaging about 8.5 points and 7 rebounds. But these guys are not going to carry the team. This is Grant Hill's team. It's Tracy McGrady's team. Hill says he's never felt better, and McGrady says he's going to be even better next season. This is a deep roster. Along with those players, they have Darrell Armstrong and Bo Outlaw, veterans from recent seasons who play very well for them, whether it's starting or coming off the bench. Mike Miller and Pat Garrity, and a trio of rookies, especially Sasser, whom I think can be a very valuable player, can play any of the point guard or 2-guard positions. So this is a team that could be very solid, but I think you have to wait and see how Hill performs, and then see what kind of a contribution that Ewing and Grant can make with this team. If it all comes together, this team could be very good. They won 43 games last year and then got ousted quickly in the playoffs by Milwaukee. But keep your eye on them, Dave.
As you mentioned, did remarkably well considering Hill's injury last year. WNBA news now, and the sad story of Shea Ralph took another turn this week with the Utah Stars announcing that the 3rd-round pick has once again torn her left ACL. Ralph originally injured the same knee in this year's Big East championship game while playing for UConn. Earlier in her career at that school, she had surgery twice to repair her right knee. Still to come in the show, not the most publicized player in the first round, but will Kedrick Brown have an impact in Boston? Early returns from the summer leagues just ahead.
Hi. I want the Goodyears you have on sale.
Okay.
And I want free mounting.
Sure.
And free rotation anytime.
Mm-hmm.
And I want the Die-Hard battery, too. For free.
No problem.
Come on.
At Sears Auto Center, all Goodyear tires are on sale, and now buy 4 Goodyear tires and get a free Die-Hard battery. Sears, America's #1 tire retailer.
Is this free?
What's that face?
No loitering means get out of here.
Rookies.
Oh my.
X Games presented by Adidas begins August 18th on ABC.
I used to dream about having my own shoe and wondering what it would feel like to see people wearing your shoe and to be able to fit your creativity, your style, your personality all into that shoe. You're probably wondering what's in the box. I'm probably not supposed to show you what's in the box, but I'm gonna show y'all anyway. This is my shoe. I can do whatever I want to do. So here's a prototype for Kobe 2.
The Pizza Hut Tax Cut Special. First, you get a large Pizza Hut pizza. Second, you get it topped any way you want. It's like getting all those extra toppings for free. Third, it's the Twisted Crust Pizza with built-in breadsticks, so it's like getting those for free. All for just $9.99. Like a refund, but taste a whole lot better.
Back on the NBA today, talking a little Summer League. And, David, you've spent the last few days at the Shaw's Summer League in Boston. Who's jumped out at you in terms of the rookies?
Well, a couple. You look at Kwame Brown in Washington, Dave. I think the Wizards hit the jackpot. I think they got the right guy. He's got great skill, ability to break down off the dribble, can shoot the jumper, does good work on the boards. He needs to do better work on the boards. Also needs to work on his lower body strength, obviously, holding his position, going strong to the basket. But you can see the raw skills there. Then you look at what Boston did, and they took the 3 first-round picks. I thought they did a really good job. I hadn't seen Kedrick Brown play and Joe Johnson you see on TV, and they look like they got 2 real winners there. Joe Johnson is really a good player. Very smooth, can shoot out to 3-point range, but more importantly, can handle and pass in traffic. Does some really good things there. Then you look at Kedrick Brown, who just jumps out of the gym, putbacks, the ability to go over people and around people for offensive rebounds. He's going to have an immediate impact. Even though he's not more than 6'8", he's going to have an immediate impact. You can see what they're going to try to do. They're going to try to outscore people like Dallas did last season. You put Antoine Walker at the top of the key, Pierce on one side, Joe Johnson on the other. They are going to outscore a lot of people, and they're going to be a very tough team to guard.
Yeah, some concern, obviously, that they didn't really address the rebounding deficiencies, but as you said, a ton of talent on the wing. They'll be an exciting team to watch. Still to come, it's showtime, the best of the best from Summer League Hoops.
Showtime underneath by Joe Johnson. Give it up!
You need to learn how to operate a computer. Hi, I'm John Scher, CEO and founder of Video Professor. Seems like everywhere I go these days, somebody's recognizing me as the Video Professor. Well, that's because we've been teaching people how to run computers for over 14 years now. You know, our product is quick and it's easy to learn with, and you can try it for free. You know, over the years, millions of people have learned how to operate the computer using our product. We get happy letters every day from people thanking us. Violet from Alabama writes, "Your lesson make using the program seem so simple that even I can use it." Janet from California writes, "Your tutorials have opened up the world of computers to me at last. But the most rewarding thing for me is having people stop me on the street and telling me how easy it was to learn with our product. They had tried expensive classes, they tried big, thick manuals, they couldn't get it. If you just want to learn how to run a computer once and for all, save yourself a lot of time and energy, try our product. Let me show you how simple this is. You put this CD in your CD tray, your lesson will come up. The lesson plays right on your computer. It works just like a VCR. You have a play button, pause, rewind, fast forward. Just follow the step-by-step instruction. You know, I'm so confident my product will work for you, I'm going to send it to you absolutely free. It's regularly a $59.95 value. You pay a small shipping and handling. The reason I'm going to do it is because I know that once you try our product, you'll come back to us for all your computer learning needs. And if this doesn't teach you how to run that computer, I'll even refund your shipping and handling. So what do you got to lose? Try my product.
I felt so good. I mean, phew, what a relief. I can understand this. After all, choose from lessons on Windows, Word, Quicken, or the Internet. To take advantage of this free computer learning offer, you must call now. Call 1-800-669-3458.
Coming up on SportsCenter, Nomar Garcia-Parra returns to a Red Sox lineup. David Duvall is back in action at the Telus Skins game. And defensive football takes center stage. We'll explain on SportsCenter at 6 Eastern.
Summer League stars, Deshaun Stevenson scoring 32 in 2 games for the Jazz. A couple rookies, Shane Battier, 48 over a 3-game stretch for Memphis. Zach Randolph, some huge numbers, 39 in 1 game for Portland. Showtime featuring the visuals from the Summer Leagues.
Kepner with a strong flush follow. Kwame Brown says, no, sir. Showtime underneath by Joe Johnson. Give it up!
Ready now.